As they go through, I'm going to introduce you to Andy Prill. Andy's forgotten more about Porsches than most people will ever know. Andy, what do you make of this parade?
I think it's fantastic. It's really great to be celebrating 50 years. Seems to have gone by in a flash. It's not often that a car defines its generation. If you think about the first iteration of the 911 Turbo, it was everybody's poster car. We all had that red turbo on our wall. Very few cars have ever achieved that.
What do you make of this flat nose?
I love it. They were inspired by the 935s, which were the pinnacle of their racing division at the time, and very popular with a few people who wanted to emulate the racing cars.
They were a very costly factory conversion, weren't they?
Yeah, an amazing evolution between 77 and 82. Those cars were developed beyond all recognition.
What about this one, the white one with the Martini stripes?
Yeah, I love it. To celebrate their association with Martini, they brought these limited editions out with the Martini stripes and special interiors. Great to see the car here.
And look at this one, what do you make of that?
Well, that's a special. Very interesting. Again, built to emulate the cars that were having so much success on track, the GT2. Fantastic looking thing, and what a colour.
There have been so many variants of this, haven't there? We've got coupe, cabriolet, targa, front nose, wide body.
Incredible, yeah. Really forced to and if you bought one, in Britain at least, you had to spend a day with either Nick Ford or Tony Dron to have a driving tuition because they were so worried that people might kill themselves.
It's great, isn't it? The spoilers, the turbo back in the 70s, that first turbo, had these massive arches, bulbous arches, and that whale tail picnic table, I think it's called picnic tail, sorry.
Yeah, again, it all came from racing. 1974, the 2.1 Salon Turbo with its massive wing and big tyres, and it was all about presenting what they sold, what they raced to what they sold on different weekdays.
It's great, in those days, I think, when it came to sort of aerodynamics, etc., that kind of went out the window. You had more power in the car, so it needed fatter tyres. So fatter tyres, it just pushed the bodywork out.
Exactly, yeah. Aerodynamics were very much in their infancy. People confuse the spoilers as wings. They're not wings, they're spoilers, which are an entirely different kettle of fish.
So the spoilers in the early 70s models, I mean, they were designed to keep the weight on the back wheel.
Well, they were designed to split the airflow to stop it, which is different to generating downforce. Okay. Where some of these later cars, we see these later iterations, that's a sort of a mix in a spoiler and actually a downforce generating wing.
It's great to see all the colours of Porsche as well, isn't it? They're really vibrant colours, and they can get yellows, oranges, lime greens, you name it.
It's amazing how they're all coming back as well.
They're not quiet, are
Interestingly, with the turbos, they're not as noisy as their normal aspirated counterparts. It's amazing. Even at full chat, it's about half the volume of a normally aspirated RSR.
They are very beautiful. So what have we got here? We've got 930s, 996.
That's a great colour, the dark green, quite rare.
Yeah, it's really quite amazing seeing this many together, isn't it?
I think it's fantastic. Brilliant effort, and thank you to all the owners for turning up and participating.
I'm just wondering where the line stops, but it carries on and on.
Well, 50 years is worth celebrating.
Well, it is a Porsche.
Well, no comment. I'm a petrol head, I'm afraid.
Oh, no comment.
So you think they were produced in 74, but they weren't the first German manufacturer to make a turbo. In fact, the first which was a complete flop. Typically, Porsche picked up the theme and perfected it after so much success with the 917 in America.
This is, looking at this is quite an incredible display, isn't it? I didn't realise, I think we have exactly, well, we have 51 or 52 Porsche today. It's quite an incredible collection of cars.
It is incredible, and it's great to see in the sunshine. You obviously pay to the same gods as the Duke of Richmond.
Yeah, well, funny enough, this morning when I was working out how to welcome people this morning, I've sort of been thinking, you know, I was going to say very warm welcome to anyone, and I wasn't quite sure how far I should stretch with a warm welcome, but we have been blessed with sunshine today, I'm pleased to say.
underrated car, the 996. I still think it looks fantastic. It's funny that I was looking last night. The first production Turbo was an American car, became a car to define this generation with performance that, although humble by modern standards, at the time was quite revolutionary. And then there was the fabled turbo lag, which I think was often over-exaggerated, but in the wrong hands, if you didn't anticipate it, could obviously make the car quite a handful and difficult to control, which is why you had to do a driving course when you purchased one of these things. Another great car here in a rare colour, nice to see that. And still they come. I must admit, I'm not as au fait with the later models. This is a great livery with the turbo written in the script on the back wheels, which was an optional extra at the time. Surprisingly quite rare given how nice it looks. Interesting as well that the very first cars introduced they thought about all the performance, but they didn't really think about the brakes. So the first models in 74, 75 and into 76 had the 2.7 RS brakes, which were rather not up to the job. And it didn't take them long before they fixed that one, because the car was dramatically underbraked in those early days. A lot. I'm not that good at mental arithmetic, but many thousands. Yes, it's a 993 coming through, the last of the air-cooled turbo cars. Sorry? Yes, Polar Silver. Okay. So this is Polar Silver, which has a little bit of blue in it, and this is Arctic Silver, which has got a bit of grey in it. There's a bit of trivia for it.
So air-cooled and water-cooled. Water-cooled came in because of emissions, because of heating, didn't it? So they wanted more power, so they needed to bring the heat down. Air-cooled and do it fast enough.
Yeah, it was a mixture of increased power output and meeting Euro regulations, which are becoming more and more stringent. The weird thing is, with a noise test, it's measuring vibration, which has been in production for a very brief time, sort of 6 years. I doubt they got their investment back, but it did lay the grind for what we see today in the later cars.
I was going to say, it has been, it's a benchmark sports car.
I say it defined the generation. The car came along, it came out of the blue. Porsche had been developing it in the background, launched it in Paris to a massive fanfare, and some surprise in the auto industry. I think some manufacturers thought they were crazy, typically a Porsche. So if you think of that in terms of time scale, that's a colossal amount of technical development in a relatively short time.
So the engine,
again with emissions, and we can get more power now out of smaller displacements. I think most of the turbos now are 3 litre, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, so many of the cars on the lawn have, 3 litre twin turbo V6s in various stages of
without danger of affecting reliability. It is amazing.
Well, you don't get the lag anymore, do you? That sort of putting your foot down and waiting for something to happen, and then all of a sudden.
Twin turbos went a long way to doing that, but there's anti-lag systems, and it's now we've got a cabriolet coming along, and they make the turbo in all body styles. And I just thought the one example we haven't got here today would be a Targa turbo. It's certainly an original. I haven't seen a modern one either.
Yeah, in a minute.
Okay.
That is quite some parade of cars with Porsche 911 turbos. What a way to celebrate 50 years of this superstar. You've got to dream big, haven't you?
Yes, indeed. Be optimistic. This is interesting. I don't believe
he was issued with manufacturer status by the German authorities. Fast forward to today, it's run by his son Konstantin Buschmann's amazing resto mod cars. These guys are manufacturers, so they're taking these cars from the factory and then essentially stripping them and completely rebuilding them. So you have this is the first one that's been seen in the UK now. Top
you instantly recognise whether, and especially a turbo,
the first of the
So we spared you the launch control on just rolling up here. Thought it might be a little excessive, but it's full EV with all the bells and whistles. What we do in Electrogenic, we design and manufacture EV drivetrains for all sorts of things, for car manufacturers, for the military, and also for beautiful classic cars. This is an example of one of our drop-in kits. We have 3 for Land Rovers. The top end spec is running, of course, on bearings, sides, DeLorean, HRC, 6PS, all sorts of things, whatever you like. They're specialists in their vehicle lines, so they can install one of our systems for you wherever you go.
You did a very special commission, didn't you, on a very old